Hello folks, this is Sullla once again giving you another commentary video for League of Legends, and as you might have noticed from that opening graphic, I'm going to be casting the third place match from the World Cyber Games that was done just a few months ago in 2011. This match is actually between the French team and the Canadian team. And this is, as I said, the third place match from that game. So if you look on the left-hand side of the screen, this is being shot in spectator mode. You can see the French team with Yellow Star playing as Sion, Soaz playing as Udyr, Linak playing as Shaco, Titus playing as Urgot, and Kuja playing as Taric. Then on the right side of the screen is the Canadian team with Chaox playing as Caitlyn, the Odd One playing as Maokai, Hotshot GG playing as Aurelia, Big Fat Gigi playing as Kassadin, and Elements playing as Blitzcrank. Now, this is taken, as I said, from the stream from World Cyber Games, so I actually am not controlling the camera here. I'm just watching the stream and then doing a cast for it. And when this game was played, there actually was a disconnect. Odd One disconnected from the game, so that's what's going on here. And so there's actually a brief pause in the action here. So those are all the members of the Canadian team right there. That's actually Chaox, GG, Elements, Odd One, and Hotshot going from left to right there on the stream there. So yeah, we can see they're all just hanging out while they're trying to sort out the pause. And then here, this is actually the French team, although unfortunately I don't know who is who on the French team. I don't know a lot of the European players as well as the North American ones. But anyway, I'm going to cut ahead to when they actually unpaused the game and got back to the action once again. So here we have the two teams setting up. So as I said, French team is on the blue side of the map. The Canadian team is on the purple side of the match, and they're still in spectator mode. Now, one thing that was going on is, if you notice, the Maokai player, Odd One, still has actually not reconnected, and they actually continued playing the match. At this point, they unpaused for some reason, which was really strange because Odd One was still disconnected. And so Linak, who's playing as Shaco, is setting up his jungle here. He's setting up at blue buff for his start. But meanwhile, Odd One's Maokai is still not reconnected to the game. And when this game was going on, this was sort of kind of a pretty big controversy at the time, the fact that the WCG organizers went ahead. For anyone who plays Maokai jungle, you know that Maokai needs to set up his saplings, so the fact that he is not in the game at this point in time and that he's not able to prepare his jungle is actually a really, really big setback to the team. There he is, still just hanging out there in the fountain, has that nice skin for Maokai. So at this point in time, the Canadian team has already suffered a really big setback by not having Maokai in the game, and they would actually go ahead and then repause it here in the hopes that he would be able to reconnect. And again, this is the sort of thing that shouldn't be happening, but apparently it did. And look at everybody hanging out there. There's Chaox on the left. Just sitting there thinking, man, real. Anyway, so eventually they did unpause the game. I'm skipping ahead to where it was unpaused, and actually Odd One is finally reconnected, but he didn't reconnect until almost the 2-minute mark. And again, for anyone who's played Maokai jungle, that really sets him back, especially against a Shaco jungler. Notice how Linak has already taken his blue, and from here, Linak has just put himself really, really far ahead of Odd One's jungle. So keep an eye on that as that goes on throughout the match. Now, in terms of matchups, again, we'll look here. If you notice, in top lane, Hotshot's Aurelia is going to be playing against Yellow Star's Sion up in top lane, so that's the matchup there. In the jungle, they keep having the camera focus on the jungler, as we said. Shaco jungle with Linak against Odd One's Maokai jungle, and he's been put pretty far behind. In middle lane, Soaz is playing Udyr, and he's up against Big Fat GG's Kassadin, so the two of them are in mid, and that's sort of an interesting laning choice, the fact that the French team decided to put Udyr in the middle lane against Kassadin. A very unusual, unorthodox choice there, but again, it's a way of trying to shut down Kassadin, and in fact, there is actually going to be first blood. Soaz able to score first blood in this game, and able to score a kill there in middle lane. Meanwhile, Linak is ganking in top lane, trying to score a kill on Hotshot GG's Aurelia. Not quite able to get the kill right there. And it looks like they're diving at tower again, and hopefully the camera work will go up there. Can we please see what's going on up in top lane? And no, we're not going to see it. It looks like they weren't able to get a kill. French team not quite able to. And again, I wish I could move the camera around, but again, I was not actually in Korea when this game was being played, and I'm just broadcasting off the stream here for anyone who might have missed these matches earlier. So anyway, like I said, Udyr against Kassadin in middle lane, a bit of an odd choice, but again, the logic there is trying to shut down Kassadin. He is someone who snowballs really hard as the game goes on, and they're just trying to prevent that from happening, since Kassadin is very weak pre-6 before he gets his Riftwalk skill. Then down in bottom lane, they haven't shown the bottom lane at all, but there is an Urgot plus Taric laning matchup for the French team. Titus playing as Urgot, Kuja playing as Taric, against a Caitlyn Blitzcrank pairing. So both sort of unorthodox pairings there. Chaox playing as Caitlyn, Elements playing as Blitzcrank right there. Meanwhile, the whole time this has been going on, Linak playing as Shaco has been counter jungling Odd One really hard. You might have noticed he took the red buff away from Odd One. He is now taking the double golems. And an important thing that needs to be pointed out, this game was played on Fizz patch for anyone who's curious. This was a couple patches ago. This was after the new summoner spells and new masteries. So the Season 2 summoners, the Season 2 masteries are in. However, the changes to the jungle where the creeps respawn more quickly and were worth less gold and experience, that is not in this patch. This is actually still the old jungle, which is why that counter jungling has been hurting Odd One's Maokai quite a bit. So he's quite a bit behind at this point in time because Linak Shaco has kept invading over and over and over again throughout this match. And of course, he also was disconnected for the first 2 minutes. As far as the actual flow of the game, right now you can see the global gold at the top. The French team is ahead, has a slight lead in global gold, mostly from taking that first blood. However, down here in bottom lane, Chaos's Caitlyn and Elements' Blitzcrank are ahead down here in bottom lane. 28 minion kills on Caitlyn against only 18 on Titus's Urgot. So he is ahead down here in bottom lane. Now, Urgot, a champ that you don't see played very often these days. He's much more popular my understanding is he's much more popular in Europe than he is in North America. He's very rarely played as an AD carry on the North American servers, but he can serve that function. He's very much early game centered. He definitely falls off quite a bit the longer the game goes on. Early on in lane, he's very, very strong, and the goal right there is to try to shut down the lane if you're going to be taking Urgot as your pick. And of course, Taric goes along with that as well. Anyway, it looks like there's a fight going on mid. Odd One is going to try to come out here and gank Soaz in middle lane. And right there, Soaz is pretty far pushed up. There's a twisted advance coming out from Odd One. Do they have enough damage to be able to kill Soaz? He is Udyr. He is quite tanky. There's an ignite coming out on Big Fat GT. He is going to cleanse that. And do they have enough damage to finish off Soaz? No, he's going to scamper back to the safety of his tower. So not able to finish that off. But that is going to open up a little more space for Big Fat GG to farm in middle lane as Caston. He's actually being outfarmed 2-1. Soaz has 36 minion kills. It just went up to 19, now at 20. So he's pretty far behind there in mid. But bottom lane is winning for Team Canada. Like I said, they're ahead down there. And in top lane, it looks like so far Hotshot GG has been able to do a good job. There is the slow coming out from Aurelia, and he's going to force Yellowstar back out of that lane. And Odd One was coming as well, but it was spotted. It has been pinged. There is a ward for the French team up there in top lane in the river. Meanwhile, down here, Linak is going to kill that ward. Looks like it was pinked by the French team. They must have seen the ward going down, and then somebody dropped a pink ward, and that was able to kill them. So even with the first blood, the global gold very even in this game. It's pretty much dead even in global gold. So what that means is that the Canadian team is out farming the French team right now, since even with the first blood advantage, it's pretty much even. Right now, Linux setting up for another gank on Big Fat GG's Caston. He is not 6 yet. There he's going to deceive in and come after him. There comes the ignite, and Soaz going to score the kill, so the second kill of the game, and Soaz has both of them, which is a bad sign. Bad sign for Caston getting behind early in the game, and a bad sign that Udyr is already picked up 2 kills. So the French team doing a nice job with these early ganks. Their team is very early game centered. If you look at their champions, Udyr scales very well in the late game, but a lot of their other champs don't. And look at this, Yellowstar now sneaking into the brush. He's come down from top lane. He's going to try to set up for another kill. Right there is the stun, but Chaos has brought cleanse on Caitlyn, and he's just going to cleanse and walk right out of there. I don't think he didn't even use his flash right there. So Odd One going to come down here. Four champions for Team France down in bottom lane, and it looks like they really want to dive this. But with 3, nice little dodge there from Yellowstar, just juking that hook. It looks like with 3 champs here for Team Canada as well, they're not going to be able to dive that tower. So that was a nice job of escaping that by Chaos using his cleanse, just very calmly walking out of there as soon as he got stunned. And now Yellowstar, again, trying to go after Chaos. He knows that Chaos's Caitlyn is very low, but going to get exhausted right there. Just walked right into the brush, double lifting into 3 champions right there. And Element's going to score that kill. So that's a rather needless death on the part of Yellowstar. Just maybe got a little bit too greedy there. Thought he could run in there and burst down Caitlyn, but not able to get that. And that's going to be the first kill of the game for Team Canada, as they're able to pull it back to within 2-1 right here. Now remember, Yellow Star, the Scion player, was in top lane, so he did have to vacate top lane for quite a while to do that, and that means that Hotshot GG's Irelia is getting pretty farmed up there. If you notice, Scion 30 minion kills, and Irelia on 51, so that's a pretty big edge for Irelia, and again, just a lot of time spent out of lane, and in fact, Yellow Star is not going back to top lane. He's actually heading mid right now, so just sort of abandoning top lane right now, and just leaving Hotshot to just free farm this top lane with Irelia, which is generally not a good sign. But if he can pull off enough ganks in other lanes, then it might be worth it if he's able to, push over mid, or if they're able to score dragon. And in fact, it looks like they're going for this dragon right now. They have tossed down the pink ward. It looks like there's actually a ward for Team Canada right there that they're in the process of killing, but it should be a free dragon. So it looks like it was worth it for Yellow Star to come down here again, because Team France was able to claim that dragon, and now they're going for a dive in bottom lane, going after KX and Elements. Are they going to be able to get out of here? KX does have his flash, does not have his cleanse. Let's see, how is this going to go? Caitlyn going to get ignited underneath the tower, and there is the flash. Looks like he should be able to escape this, even with red buff on Shaco right there. Meanwhile, now it's shifting the focus to Elements. They are going to score that kill, so Team France going to take another kill here, but it looks like they're not going to be able to take this tower, and it looks like Big Fat GG has come over. Is KX going to be able to make it out of here? He is relatively low, and there's a lot of members of the French team right there, but it doesn't look like they're going to be able to get this, and it looks like they're not even going to take the tower. So they did claim a kill in bottom lane, but again, this is a lot of time that Yellow Star has spent out of lane. He's only on 34 minion kills, which is extremely low at the 10-minute mark. You would think he'd be close to 100 at this point in time. After all, Scion is very easy to farm with, and again, as the camera shifts back to top lane, Hotshot GG just sitting up in top lane, doing the farm shot GG, just farming up here in top lane the whole time that's going on. So yes, Team France did get a kill in bottom lane, but and they did take a dragon, so it was probably worth it, but this has also been a lot of time that Aurelia has just been sitting in top farming. Now, Linak trying to gank. He does have red buff as Shaco, but there's an exhaust coming out, defensive exhaust from Hotshot Aurelia, and he should be able to make it out of here with no problem. And it looks like the French team was not able to steal the blue buff away from GG's Cassidy either. It did respawn, but it looks like it respawned just after they left bottom lane. So they were not able to deny that blue buff to Cassidy, which would have been a pretty big deal. You, of course, don't want Cassidy getting blue. Anyway, global gold is slightly in favor of the French team. They're about 1,000 gold ahead, which I guess is a fair amount at this point, mostly just due to the fact that they were able to take that dragon. But in terms of the actual farm in lane, the Canadian team is ahead. Now, I've said this a couple times before, but one of the key things of this game is that the French team does have a very early game centered team. If you look at their team, Scion falls off a bit late game. He's still useful, but again, he really only has two skills, his stun and his shield. Not that great late game. Shaco, again, has amazing early game ganks, but again, really falls off late game, can really only useful for split pushing late game. And then Urgot and Tarek are, again, very early game centered. They're very strong in lane, but they fall off pretty hard as the game goes on. Certainly Urgot going to be a lot less useful than Caitlyn later on. Pretty much just going to be useful for swapping, and then occasionally if he can land his corrosive charge. But so anyway, like I said, their team is very early game centered. They need to snowball out ahead early in the game and try to turn that early game edge into a victory. And it looks like here Audouin might be in some trouble, engaging on Linak right there. Going to pop his ult. Now he's going to retreat, but he's going to retreat right into a box trap, and there is the flash. Going to use his flash to escape. So it looks like he is going to be okay, even though he was ignited there. Looks like as soon as he saw that box trap, he's able to flash out, and GG's Cassidy was right there to help him out. So a nice play by Linak, just didn't quite work out. Now Hotshot coming down from top lane, and he's going to go in, but he's going to engage on the Shaco clone and not able to score the kill there. Linak deceiving right as Hotshot's Aurelia gets there. Meanwhile, down in bottom lane, as we've said, Chaox's Caitlyn is pretty far ahead in this lane. He's on 89 minion kills to 75 for Titus's Urgot, and he's been putting a lot of pressure, consistently been putting pressure on this lane down here, been pushing the tower over and over again, in part just to deny the creeps, but also just to put as much pressure on that tower as possible. And that bottom lane tower has nearly been finished off down there in bottom lane, and I don't know why the stream just blacked like that, but whatever. Came right back up. really the strongest person on the French team is Soaz. Like we said, he has both. He has 2 of the 3 kills and has assisted on the other one. He also has the most farm, 94 minion kills. Right there, Tarek's stun coming out onto Chaos, but he's going to use his cleanse. Now here comes the swap. Linak is here as well, and Chaos is taking a lot of damage. Do they have enough damage to finish him off here? Let's see. Is he going to manage to get out of here? He just needs to flash over that wall. His flash is not up. No, it's just about to finish cooling off. So right there, actually are going to score that kill on Chaos in bottom lane. So a nice job there. That was, again, Shaco joining with the 2 laners in bot to be able to pick off that kill. Meanwhile, it is going to be a tower kill in top lane. Odd One went up there. They were not quite able to finish off Soaz, but they were able to get the tower. So that's actually the first tower kill of the match going to the Canadian team. And again, still very close in global gold overall, 16.6 to 16.1. Now Yellow Star has shifted to mid. It looks like they wanted to have Udyr in top lane early on or Udyr in mid early on because they thought that Udyr would do a better job of shutting down Kassadin, but now they decided to shift back and put that AP mid. Meanwhile, another tower going back into bottom lane, so it looks like the total exchange was a tower in top and a tower in bot, but the French team also picked up a kill on Caitlyn in bottom lane, so they come out a little bit ahead in that particular trade, and now the global gold is back up to about 1,000 because they took that tower, which was worth quite a bit. In terms of itemizing, nothing too crucial has really appeared. Everybody looks like they're mostly going for that first big item. I see that Hotshot Aurelia has finished Wit's End thus far. One of the few sort of full items that have been finished so far. Looks like nobody else has really finished that much. A couple Wriggles out there on the map. Wriggles on Udyr, Wriggles on Shaco as well. And not too many other items actually completed as yet. Notice that there's mobility boots on Sion, so the typical, I'm going to go middle lane with Sion and then start ganking all the side lanes. Looks like they're going to shift over to that strategy for the European team. But also mobility boots on Blitzcrank, which is, again, a champ you don't see played that often as Elements misses that hook. Elements will give him a ton of movement speed when he activates his overdrive, when he activates his, I think it's his W. Anyway, another dragon fight coming up here. Your French team is ready to go for this dragon fight. They have all 5 champions here. Hotshot's coming down from top lane, so this could be a crucial fight in this game to see who's going to be able to take this dragon. Looks like that dragon's getting very, very low, and there it goes. French team does take it, and now the Canadian team going into fight, but they're a little bit late here. Maokai ult is placed very well. Whole team mostly fighting inside that. Linak diving after Caitlyn right there. Looks like he was not able to kill Caitlyn right there. Soa's going to get another kill right there. And now Big Cat GG able to pick off Titus right there. Hotshot's in the middle of the team and going to flash out at the perfect moment right when he gets low. Many, many people on the Canadian team low. We've had a 1-for-1 trade thus far. Right there, Linak is going to be finished off by Big Fat GG, but he's going to get stunned by Yellow Star Scion. Going to finish that off. Elements very, very low. Do they have the damage? Yes, they're going to be able to finish him off. Soa's very low, but he has popped his turtle stance once again, and it looks like we have a 3-for-2 in favor of the French team. 3-for-2 and Dragon going to put them, give them a nice advantage in this match, and they are able to take blue buff as well. So that's a clear win for them, and now they're about 2.5k in front of this match. So while the match is far from over, French team definitely ahead at that point. Had a nice fight there. They, if you notice, a lot of people were very low on both teams, but the French team just able to score one more kill, and of course they also took Dragon as well. Dragon usually being considered to be worth about 2 champion kills. So if you count the Dragon, then they really went more like 5-for-2 in that engagement, which is how they got ahead in the global gold. In terms of, let's see, looking again at the items, people still, I see that Rod of Ages has now been finished on Big Fat GG's Kassadin, so his first big item as Hotshot GG takes red buff on Aurelia. Sion still hasn't really finished any items yet. Looks like Shaco's picked up a recurve bow. Urgot has not quite managed to finish. It looks like he's going for Manamune and then something else with the BF sword. Has not quite managed to finish that yet. So again, not too many items actually haven't been completed. We'll keep an eye on that as the match goes on to see what people are finishing. In terms of farm, let's see, Hotshot GG does have the most in the game right now. As soon as he finishes nuking this minion wave, he's going to be at about 130. Chaox's Caitlyn close at 118. Soaz has the most minion kills. Soaz, the Udyr player, has the most minion kills on the French team. And he really is going to have to be the one who carries his team going forward. He's 401, very, very strong. And look at this right now, putting a lot of pressure on this tower in middle lane. So he is the one who's going to have to be on point. He wants to get to that point where he's super duper tanky, can't really be killed, and just going to be the one in the middle of the fight. Anyway, Flash is coming in. Kuja getting caught out a little bit but I think he's going to be able to make it out of here, and looks like he is going to be escape. Saw some flashes coming out on both sides. Kuja flashing in order to get away, and it looked like Hotshot flashed as well, or maybe not. Somebody flashed on the Canadian team right there. But they weren't. It looks like it was Odd One who tried to flash. Looks like he was trying to get close enough to use his Twisted Advance. Anyway, Hotshot does have red buff right here, so Linak might be in a little trouble, but no. Looks like he's going to be okay. He does have his Deceive. He can always go invisible and just make his way out of there. A lot of action going around mid, and Elements walking right into Yellowstar and Soaz and going to get finished off. So French team scoring their 8th kill of the match, and Yellowstar is going to end up getting that kill, which it looks like is probably the person they would have wanted it on. Because they do want Sion to start stacking up some of that gold. And with Elements going down and 4 champions from in middle lane, looks like this middle tower is going to fall as well. There it is. So the French team has now taken their 2nd turret of the game, and they're in a pretty comfortable position right here, up 8-3 in kills, 2-1 in towers, and now Chaos is in all kinds of trouble. Does he realize that the whole French team is chasing him? Looks like he probably does. Needs to try to make his escape, but the whole enemy team is behind him and his base, so needs to do something to try to run out of here. There's the net going down, and there's a lot of people chasing him, so let's see if he's going to be able to make his way out of here. But it looks like no, there's a team fight actually going on around the blue buff right here. Can they hit a hook? No, Element's not going to hit that hook, but Yellowstar taking a lot of damage. Hotshot GG has entered into the fight as well. A nice Maokai ult, and they're going to be able to burst down Yellowstar right there. So again, Sion pretty good at burst damage, but not too good in a sustained fight. Now Soaz charging in. Kaak's going to use his cleanse, but he's got an angry man bear tiger chasing him. No, please keep the camera on the fight. Going to go down to Soaz, so Soaz going to pick up that kill, but now the whole Canadian team has turned on him, and it looks like they're going to burst him down. Odd One taking the match. Now, can they grab Titus? No! Going to flash away from that grab. Meanwhile, Hotshot GG does have red buff. He's going to charge in on Kuja right there. There's the knockup from Elements. Do they have the damage? Yes! Going to finish off Kuja right there, and going to clear an Oracle off of Kuja's Tarek. So another Oracle down, and that whole sequence went pretty well for Team Canada, although they did lose their top lane turret. Linak was up there in top, but looks like they're going to trade a tower in top for a tower mid, and the middle lane tower is generally considered to be more valuable than the outer lane towers, since mid is the easiest and shortest path into the base. It looks Linak continuing to push in top, but it looks like Chaos's Caitlyn is going to come over and prevent him from getting that tower. So a bit of a confused fight, some people dying on both sides. I do think the Canadian team came out a little bit ahead, if nothing else, because they were able to score that Oracles. Looks like they got 1 more kill, because I believe that the French team was up by 5 kills before, and now they're only up by 4. As we get a shot of the crowd apparently watching. Looks like they have thunder sticks in Korea. Multicolored ones. Okay, that was random. Anyway, so this match still pretty close. French team still has a slight lead, but match far from decided. They're up 4 kills and they're up 1 tower. They also did take both dragons, but in terms of the actual lanes, they've kind of been out-farmed. Caitlyn 144 minion kills, Irelia 153, and then Caston on 109 compared to 128, 126, 120. So a little bit behind in terms of the actual minion kills on the French team, which is why the Canadian team is not further behind than they already are. Right now, teams are just getting ready for the next big objective. Dragon's going to be up in another about 2 to 3 minutes, so it looks like people are probably getting ready for the next dragon fight, setting up, taking their blue buffs, taking their red buffs, just getting ready for the next big fight. And it looks like Yellowstar wants to try to steal this blue. Looks like the French team is aware, or no, actually, Dragon's already back up. Excuse me, I had the timer wrong. So it looks like Dragon's already backed up, and they're getting ready for another dragon fight. All 5 members of both teams hanging out right here. So this, again, going to be a real crucial fight. If the French team can win this, they're going to snowball that much further ahead. If the Canadian team can win this, they can get back into the match and even this up, narrow the margin of global gold. So everybody just sort of feeling each other out, trying to grab somebody, trying to get into a good position for this fight. Canadian team was split, but it looks like they've managed to regroup over by their own blue buff. And again, just waiting for some kind of fight. Camera work is not the greatest here, but hopefully we'll be able to see what goes on. A lot of poking with saplings and Shaco boxes and just various little poke stuff back and forth. Linak stepping on the trap to clear it. So again, just poking back and forth, waiting for somebody to make some kind of a mistake right here and kick off this fight. Neither team wants to be the one that's going to start fighting Dragon first. Neither team wants to tank that damage. And French team being forced back into lane a little bit. Canadian team is grouped up over here. And Element's going to hit the hook. Yellowstar immediately going to flash out, but we're going to have the start of this fight. And Kuja getting bursted down just immediately. Maokai ult going off in a really nice spot. There's the swap, but Titus is being engaged upon by 3 members of the Canadian team. GG is going to flash, or going to rift walk over the wall. Titus taking a lot of damage down there, and it looks like Yellowstar is going to go down next, and Linak still in the middle of the team, but he is going to be bursted down. Is he going to kill anyone? And no, Titus still left. Can he manage to make it out of here? Is he going to be able to run out, being chased by elements? And there is the Blitzcrank hook as the feed goes down for a second, and that is going to be another kill. So wow, a 4-for-0 fight in favor of the Canadian team. Everybody really low on the Canadian team, but no kills for France. They even managed to clear another Oracle in that fight. They were able to kill Kuja, actually clearing another Oracle off of Tark in the process, and Elements coming up big with that Blitzcrank hook that started the fight, and then actually able to finish off the fight with another one. But again, Canada prevailing by the narrowest of margins in that team fight, able to go 4-for-0 and take Dragon, and now that the standings have been switched, the Canadian team now actually ahead in Global Gold, just by a narrow margin, but the game certainly has evened up. And this is a bigger problem for the French team than the numbers might suggest, because as I mentioned earlier, their team is very early game focused. Urgot not going to be too useful as this game continues to go on. Shaco going to be reduced to more of a split pushing role. Shaco really not good in team fights. His Achilles heel not good in team fights. And once people on the other team start getting an Oracle, his ability to deceive in and assassinate someone goes down enormously once everybody starts grouping up and Oracles start coming out. Soaz going to have to be the real strong member of their team because he is the one with 5 of their 10 kills, 2 more assists, has the most farm, so he is getting really strong. Looks like he's getting close to a Trinity Force, also has a Negatron Cloak, and also Chainmail there. Yellowstar, the Scion player. Oh, here, Linak getting caught again. Unfortunately, getting caught in mid. Kaok's going to score the kill. There is the clone still left alive. There, it's going to get bursted down. 25 more gold for you. So, unfortunately, Linak getting caught, getting picked off there in middle lane. And with the 5-on-4 in their advantage, it looks like the Canadian team's going to push mid. They could potentially try to go for Baron here. They did kill the jungler on the enemy team, so no smite, but it looks like they're going to try to push lanes instead. They can't really push into the base too hard. Hotshots Irelia has had to go back to top lane because there was a huge minion wave push there. And so it looks like they're not really going to get that much out of this particular engage, but they were able to score another kill, and they're ahead only about 700 global gold, so still extremely close. But they're going to have to head back to farm these side lanes, and they're going to have to keep an eye on Baron to make sure that they don't lose it. Anyways, I said a minute ago, Yellowstar, the Scion player, does have his death cap right now. Shaco, I'm not exactly sure what he's building with that recurve bow and phage. I honestly don't know. And it looks like the French team is going to be pushing up mid right here. There is the advantage of being cast, and you can riff walk right over that wall. But I don't think they're going to be able to get this middle tower. They don't really have minions here, and the Canadian team has reacted. Of course, Hotshot Aurelia still up in top lane, just still farming up there. Look at Hotshot, it just went over the 200 minion mark. No one else in the game really that close. Chaox's Caitlyn is the closest. Has Wit's End, also has an Aegis of the Legion, and then he also has a Phage and a Chain Vest right there. So he has quite a few items right there, and is going to be really strong in these fights going on. And he's just picked up a critical strike cloak, so he looks like he's going for Atma's Impaler as his next item there. As far as the rest of the players, let's see. Urgot does have Manamune. He has Manamune Bloodthirster as his 2 items. But meanwhile, Chaos just went back and picked up an Infinity Edge. So Manamune Bloodthirster does not come out ahead compared to Infinity Edge. Caitlyn's damage just increased tremendously when Chaos finished his Infinity Edge. So he's going to be much, much stronger right now. And in terms of just the straight AD matchups, the Canadian team is coming out pretty far ahead at this point in time because, as we said, Urgot great in lane, but he does not scale well into endgame, and he's going to be much weaker than Chaox's Caitlyn as this game goes along. So anyway, Chaox was pushing bottom lane. He did score another turret down there, so it's now 3-3 in tower kills. The Canadian team getting close to a 2k advantage in gold, but still very close. It's still anyone's game. It's going to come down to what mistakes people make in this matchup. Looks like most people are grouped up around mid, except for Chaox's Caitlyn, who's way down there in bottom lane and still pushing that lane. Although it looks like he's going to back off right now. But putting some pressure on that tower, getting more farm, it's not a good sign that Irelia and Caitlyn have the most farm in the game right now. And it looks like the Canadian team might be heading for Baron right here. Not sure. Might going to maybe put some pressure on it. Dragon will be up relatively soon in about another 1 to 2 minutes. So we'll see what they do. But it looks like everybody is going to back off and try to grab their neutral buffs. Blue is up for the Canadian team. Looks like none of the buffs are up for the French team right there. So again, teams just feeling each other out, waiting to make a mistake. That Baron is sitting there and just waiting to see if they're going to be able to catch somebody out at Baron. Most of the French team members are around that Baron. an Oracle on both team, on both of the supports, on Taric and Blitzcrank. So a little bit of a ward war going back and forth as the teams fight over vision. But right now, not too much going on. Just the teams waiting. Just sort of, again, if somebody makes a mistake here and the other team gets Baron, that's probably going to swing the match in favor of one team or another. So they're going to be a little bit cautious here, a little bit coy, not being too aggressive in engaging in this match. Because like we said, next big mistake could possibly lose someone the game. The Canadian team has gotten back in this. They were behind initially, but they've turned it around with that last dragon fight, really put them back in it when they were a bit behind. Going 4-0 and taking dragon does a lot to swing the matches. Anyway, it looks like people are grouping up again. Everybody's going back to buy. Hotshots Aurelia has finished his Atma's Impaler right now. It's going to be stronger, a lot significantly stronger. Not any other items coming out. Oh, Soaz has finished his Trinity Force on Udyr, so that is going to be another key item. He's going to be very strong. Wriggle's Trinity Force, and then both the Negatron Cloak and the Chain Vest. Anyway, it looks like the next fight's going to be over this red buff right here. Teams on both sides kind of grouping up here. It is warded by the Canadian team. They're going to pull that red buff over there. Yellowstar using his shield, not really hitting anything. Element's also not hitting anything with that grab, but they're going in on Linak, and this is a perfect Maokai ultimate just for blocking so much damage right here. Right now, a lot of damage being traded on both sides. Chaos is just sitting in the back, and he is perfectly safe right there. Yellowstar going to flash over the wall. Soaz is... Oh, Titus going to score a kill. Soaz going over the wall with his flash. Let's see, is Titus going to make it out? Yes, he's going to flash over the wall. There goes Kuja, but guess what? Everybody else is going to flash over the wall after him, and that's going to end up being a 2-for-1 in favor of the Canadian team. Maybe 3-for-1 if they can finish off Yellowstar here. He's trying to make his way out, but I don't know if he's going to be able to. There is the kick in from the mobility boot, so he just got a huge movement speed increase. He may be able to run out of here and just suicide in the base for the Canadian team and prevent them getting a kill. So let's see. It looks like he's going to run into the tower, but there is the Caitlyn ultimate drawing a bead. So it looks like he's going to have to run a little bit further if he wants to prevent the Canadian team from getting a kill. There is Hotshot and Elements chasing after him. Can Yellowstar manage to suicide in the base? No, not going to be able to. There is the Blade Surge, or whatever it's called, from Irelia. So no, not going to be able to suicide there. And Hotshots Aurelia going to pick up that kill. And the Canadian team also going to get this dragon, looks like, without any real issues. Although, let's see, Titus is coming over here, coming down from top lane. He does have the blue buff right here. So Canada going to take that dragon. Odd One taking a little bit of harass here. He should probably be okay with these corrosive charges. He is starting to take a lot of damage. He might have to flash over the wall. There's a crit. He's going to get hit again by that corrosive charge. And look at the lock-on. Is he going to go down? Yes! Falling to that corrosive charge. Look at the insane range. Just needs to put the mouse cursor over the champion to hit once he's locked on. And then was given sight for that lock-on by Soaz's Udyr. So a surprising kill there, to say the least. And a nice job on the part of Titus to score that kill there. So that's actually his 4th kill of the match. And let's see, he still only has the Manamune Bloodthirster, though. Has not managed to pick up any other items. Meanwhile, Chaox's Caitlyn has picked up a Last Whisper, but it looks like the French team is going to go for Baron. They do have a 4-on-5, so they can force a fight, but no, Kuja getting caught out right here. He's going to go down to Hotshot, and this is not going well at all for the French team, taking a lot of damage. Hotshot in the middle of the team doing so much damage, he will fall right there, but Chaox's Caitlyn is just perfectly safe, and he has that Last Whisper now. He is just killing everybody in the back of the team, not taking any damage at all. Soa's going to try to run out there. Is he going to make it out? No, not able to. So, Caitlyn just in the back of the team taking no damage, just sitting there poking away at everyone, and that was actually a 4-1 in favor of the Canadian team, and they should be able to clear this Baron easily. With the only one they have to worry about is Linak, who does have Smite, but they should be able to keep him away from the Baron. I guess they're not going to go for Baron. I really thought that they would here. It seemed like they had a golden opportunity to take it. Maybe they just took a little bit too much damage. So no, not going to go for Baron here, even though I really thought that they were. Instead, just going to push this middle lane, but still 4-for-1 in that fight. And with that tower, they're now up to a 6,000 global gold. And as I said, their champions are mostly better late game anyway, so this is not looking particularly great for the French team. Canadian team has won the last 2 team fights, and they're only getting stronger as this game continues to go on. So, game not over yet. French team still does have the opportunity. If they can take the next Baron, if they can take this Baron, then they can get back into it. If they're not able to take this Baron, they're going to be in a lot of trouble. So they need to try to score a pick on somebody, pick off somebody and then force a Baron. That's really their best chance of getting back in this, because the longer this game goes on, the worse it's going to be for them. For instance, Chaos Caitlyn has now picked up a Zeal as well. Hotshot has picked up a Frozen Mallet, has turned his Phage into a Frozen Mallet, so he is getting really, really tanky, and he does have that Atmos Impeller. And it looks like right now the Canadian team is going to go for this Baron. There's no ward coverage here, and look at the positioning on the French team. They are just spread out all over the map, no one even remotely close to Baron, so whether they know about this Baron or not, there is nothing they can do. There's no way to get close enough to stop this, and that Baron is going to really hurt the French team. Now they're trying to come over here. Yellowstar going to get slowed by Kasten. Can they pick this off as the screen goes black again? There is the knock-up coming in from Blitzcrank, and no, they're not going to get this. And are they going to be able to chase down Kuja? Blitzcrank does have those mobility boots, but no, not going to hit on the grab. Kuja going to flash. He's gotten slowed by Kasten, but I think he's going to make it back into the safety of the base. Still a 5v4 with Baron for the next 35 seconds on the part of the Canadian team, and that spells a lot of trouble for Team France. They're going to need to try to hold this tower if they can. They do have the advantage of fighting in one of the strongest parts of their base, but it's going to be still going to be very difficult to stop this 4v5 and with the other team having Baron. So anyway, it looks like they're going to go in and engage. Hotshot going in, taking point. He's very tanky, and this tower should go down with no issues. Looks like the French team was just going to give up this inhib and try to make their stand elsewhere. Realizing that they're not strong enough to fight for this, they're just going to have to give up that inhib, but that's going to put them very far behind, now almost about 8,000 gold behind, and that's a very significant margin. Of course, losing their inhib hurts a lot too. Nevertheless, Yellowstar has revived. He's back up, so they can now fight at least 5v5. They may be able to make a stand at one of their towers, probably their best chance. But again, their team comp just not really suited for this, because Shaco not going to be that useful in a team fight. Notice that Linek is off in middle lane trying to push that. And we might see an engagement here, or possibly, no, it looks like it's not going to be a fight. French team going to give up this tower as well. Going to make their stand at the base turret. But that is a lot of global gold going over to the Canadian team. Now almost 10,000 gold ahead, and they may be strong enough at this point to just dive this tower and straight win the game off of this. Not sure. They may, it would not be the safest play, but they might be strong enough just to break this tower and win the game right here. We'll see what they do. They are getting very, very far ahead. The other thing they can do is just wait for super minions to push into the base, wait for them to flood into that middle lane, and then when that happens, start to go in. They need Caitlyn to try to poke at this tower. There is the engagement going in. They're going to focus on Chaos's Caitlyn, and they actually are going to get this kill, but in order to do so, they've dove way far out away from their tower. Not the strongest part. Soaz is going to fall to Big Fat Gigi, and now Yellowstar is being engaged upon. I don't know if he's going to be able to make it out. CLG Canada is fighting underneath the tower, but there is another kill. And it looks like Yellowstar is going to be finished off next. Hotshot scoring a lot of kills. Linek chasing the odd one, but not going to be able to catch him. And now that's going to be curtains for Linek as well. So they just went 4 for 1 in that fight. Again, the Canadian team just too strong in this match. Just too far ahead in order for the French team. They actually had a good engagement. They were able to burst down Caitlyn right at the start of the fight, which is what you want to do. But unfortunately, all that global gold and the Baron buff just making too much of a difference. And it looks like that is going to be the end of the match. The only one who's still alive is Kuja, and Tarek does not defend Nexus Towers very well against 4 team members who all have Baron. So it looks like that's going to be the end of this first match. This is a best of 3 series, so I will have the next game in this series coming up next. We'll see what the French team is able to do in the second match to try to turn this one around. So winner of the first game, Team Canada. So like I said, we'll have the next game up soon. So once again, thanks for, wow, look at Chaos, real. He seems so excited, doesn't he? Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed this video. Check back for Game 2 coming up next, right after this one.